Ladies and gentlemen, since my last name is a little hard to pronounce in English, you can call me Mike, please. Ladies and gentlemen, it's only 10:15, so it's morning, and I think you are not wake up so well. So my challenge is that I need to convince you that artificial intelligence, which is a buzzword, very sexy, and sells a lot, but it is applied today. It is not something like science fiction. It is something that gives actionable information and value-adding services to the shipping industry today already. And there are companies that are getting benefits out of this technology. And this is my challenge. Thank you very much for being here. If the technology will be of assistance to us, it may be possible that I can change slides. Maybe. I hope. Those things happen.
You also need luck.
Sure. Luck is essential.
Maybe the range it doesn't work after the
Right. So, let's share with you a few words about our company. We have versatility as a company, since we have know-how in Internet of Things, data acquisition, performance monitoring and analysis, and the appliance of artificial intelligence, which actually is the machine learning technology in maritime. We are specialized only in providing technology for the shipping industry. If this slide would represent a typical organizational structure of a shipping company today, we know that every day a lot of questions are triggering the shipping executives. Those questions create a huge complexity, a correspondence and an exchange of written messages between the departments, between the executives, between the crew, the authorities, the classification societies, etc. Those questions vary as far as the complexity is concerned, from very simple, very naive questions to extremely complicated ones that need a lot of analysis, a lot of calculations, a lot of know-how and expertise on their subjects. Ladies and gentlemen, we know very well that it is not possible to manage anything if we don't measure it, if we don't have proper, reliable data, first of all. Unfortunately, there are companies that claim that they can do digital transformation of the shipping industry without having the raw material in order to do the digital transformation, without having data. With fragmentary data, with no report data, it is not possible to do a proper analysis. So, what we say is that in order to be able to properly manage this new era of smart shipping, first of all, you need to secure that you have data, regular data, ensure the reliability and the accuracy of those data. You need to enrich them with third-party data from weather providers, from the other systems that the shipping company already uses, like ERP, PMS, etc., then be able to provide business expertise and know-how on various technical or operational subjects, applying the algorithms and the formulas that the engineering has already developed, and then applying the machine learning technologies which give you a big intelligence and prediction ability. And then be able to transform those data to the users through a human-like interface in order to be user-friendly. So our company provides an end-to-end digital solution. We get data from the vessels, we enrich them with weather and AIS data, we connect to your ERP and any no-reporting PMS system that you currently have. We undertake the duty of cleaning, synchronizing, and storing the data. Then we proceed to a proper analysis using artificial intelligence, and then we offer to the users a user-friendly interface which doesn't need any learning curve. It's absolutely available to be used from day one to any user, since they communicate with the system like they do with each other. So this is the end-to-end solution that Metis provides. In order to be able to get the data from the vessels, we designed and produced proprietary technology, intelligent devices which have Ethernet connection, but also a patent-pending wireless technology, and we install those collectors on board the vessels, being able to connect to any equipment of any retrofit or new building. We have serial interfaces, analog interfaces, CAN bus, Modbus, all the possible ways to connect to any device that we encounter. And additionally, we have a type approval certification from Lloyd's Register, a unique worldwide certification for collection, transmission, and analysis of vessel performance data. So, what we do is we install our devices in maximum 2 days. It is very easy, the installation. In 2 days, 2 of our engineers will complete the installation, and then we create a wireless network on board the vessel, and we store, we package the data, and we transfer them through the broadband connection to the cloud. Indicatively, we get data from any of the navigational instruments, from the anemometer of the vessel, from gyro, GPS, all the bridge, the AIS, the rudder angle, the draft gauges, the torque meters, if exists, the tank level, the flow meters for the fuel oil or the lube oil. But equally important is that the data acquisition is provided as a service. The data acquisition is not just to install an equipment and leave it to work by its own. It needs a monitoring. This is a challenge, and this is a duty that we do undertake, and we, as soon as something goes wrong and we lose the data acquisition from any part of the vessel, we jump on it. We have the duty to fix it and have the flow of the data without without any interruption. So as soon as something will stop transmitting data, we have the, when they take the duty to fix it and to secure a normal data feed from the vessels. And here are some pictures from the real world about installations on board the vessels. So our system combines, after we get the data, how those data will be utilized, because this is one of the biggest challenge that shipping industry has. And then how to leverage those data to useful and actionable information. The idea here is that the categories of the services that are provided include so many aspects of the shipping business activity, from voyage planning to the performance monitoring, from the emissions reporting to the compliance of the many different regulations that are always increasing nowadays, to the inspection management, to the improvement of the reporting, to the preventive management, maintenance, risk analysis, the alerts, the optimization of your business, and the handling of the charter party agreements. So the concept of our virtual agents is that Metis will digest all those data gathered from the vessels, will enrich them with third-party data, will work for us 24/7, will be able to alert us if something is to be alerted, prepares reports and send us proper reports to the proper people within the shipping industry, and will work for us, since this is a 24/7 non-stop business activity, that it is not possible that human beings will be able to monitor restlessly. So examples of the topics that are covered by our system will be both operational or technical. For example, weather and sea state, shallow water effect, the vessel performance regarding operation, rudder effect, etc. Or engineering, like main engine monitoring, the electro generators, the boilers, etc. Let me share with you an example. One of the issues that are handled by empirical way, and maybe with rules of thumb, is when is the optimum timing to go for a dry docking and clean the hull of a vessel. Most of the companies worldwide, they don't have a clear and reliable and accurate measurement of how much is exactly the hull and propeller fouling. With Metis, since we get so many different data as far as the performance of the vessel is concerned, in every voyage we accurately calculate how much is the excess of the fuel oil, which is provenly have been consumed because of the wind, because of the rudder, because of the swell, because of the waves, of the drifts, and apparently the rest is because of the hull and propeller fouling. So we provide in every single voyage the actual information, because this is not so obvious to calculate the forces, the resistances applied on the vessel because of the external environmental and weather conditions, and then transform those forces to shaft power, which is clearly described by the engineering theoretical models, but then to transform the shaft power to the fuel oil consumption that this vessel, specific vessel, consumes is not obvious at all. And this is only possible with use of the machine learning technologies, because our vessel, you cannot rely to the sea trials. The sea trials have been done maybe 10 years ago when the ship was built. So the ship is not the same now. We have a main engine that doesn't have the efficiency that used to have when it was built. The hull is not in the condition that used to be when it was built. So with machine learning technologies, you can have an accurate and reliable information how much is actually the fuel oil consumption, which is provingly has been consumed. So you have an actual indication and information of how much exactly in ballast and laden condition is the hull and propeller fouling of this specific vessel, of every vessel of your fleet. So the multiple options of how you interact with the system is, of course, a web and mobile user interface, an automated alerting and reporting system through any channel, through SMS, through email, through any texting or messaging system that each shipping company internally uses, with ad hoc requests. For example, if you want to ask something, we created a worldwide unique chatbot. So people communicate with Metis in natural language, in plain English, and of course, dashboards, a data visualization way in order the engineers of the shipping company to have a clear picture of what is happening and to conclude to some decisions. So the portal, web and mobile, the chatbot in natural language processing, decreasing the time required for the daily decision making, and of course increasing the reliability of operations. Here we can see an example how you can communicate with Metis, just like you communicate with one of your colleagues, both in mobile or in your desktop. This is an example, for example, using your Skype or your Microsoft Teams. You just ask a question and you get an answer. You ask a question regarding operational or engineering, or how much is the hull fouling, how much is the shaft power, how much is the consumption, or other questions regarding hundreds of parameters gathered from every single vessel of your fleet. And you get an answer with data visualization, with charts, whatever you asked for, or you ask for a report to be sent to your email account. Here, for example, we ask for the weather forecast of a specific vessel up to its next port. But this is not the end of the story. because machine learning gives us the ability to create actual sea trials of every single vessel of our fleet as it is today. You know very well that the sea trials provided by the yards are kind of problematic since they have only few points. They are in unrealistic conditions. Usually, for example, for dry bulkers, they give us sea trials that are regarding speeds of the vessel for 17 or 18 or 19 or 20 knots, speeds that the vessels will not operate at all. And on the other hand, the shipyards provide the ship owners with sea trials that are in calm water conditions, which is not the case that the ships encounter in the real world out there. So with Metis, just a couple of months, after 2 months, 3 months approximately, you can have actual reference curves in the real conditions that the ship encounters and operates, in the real speeds, in various different trim, in various different drafts, in various different RPM or speed over ground. So, therefore, the shipping executives have a very clear picture of how this specific vessel behaves. You have a very clear information of how the shaft power, for example, or the RPMs of this specific vessel behave in the real world. So you have the actual picture and the actual information of how much will be your consumption, for example, for a specific voyage, taking into account the weather that this vessel will encounter until its next port. So, for example, what is the competitiveness that the companies that are more forward-thinking get in comparison to the other companies? Is that if you have, for example, one vessel and you have 2 optional charter parties with specific incomes, with specific terms, which one of the 2 contracts will be more profitable for your company? These kind of what-if scenarios give competitive advantage to the shipping companies that think and embrace the new technologies. Or how does your ship actually behaves in comparison to the charter party agreement that you need to apply and you execute? On the other hand, how much will be the performance or the fuel oil consumption until the next port? Those kind of predictions give you competitive advantage that is unparalleled and distinguishes some companies from others. Those kind of predictions regarding, for example, fuel oil consumption or other parameters like shaft power or whatever you would like to predict, have a huge accuracy, a very impressive accuracy, because those technologies gives you the ability to conclude very reliable predictions, since the way machine learning technology works is different than the way human brain works. So the technology augments the human beings, doesn't replace the human beings, augments and makes us much, much more intelligent. So based on this technology, we can predict how much will be the fuel consumption. Or for example, indicatively, we can predict how much will be the shaft power required. Here we can have even more accurate predictions. Another idea and another service that we provide is with manual valves. You know that many times a lot of companies suffer from big fines because of improper use of manual valves. We have a recent incident in one shipping company that the crew used the manual valves and the merchandise in two different tanks in this tanker merged each other, so they destroyed the merchandise. So we have a system that monitors the manual valves and alerts the shipping executives on shore if an alert is to be opened or closed. Ladies and gentlemen, all of us know that smart shipping is here and it will create a disruption, and everybody is maybe considering how much this disruption will affect our business. We need to be able to understand how to decode this new era. Can you guess how this can be translated? It is very easy. We all need to be adaptable in order to survive, else we will be left by the sideways, unfortunately. And this is a message that everybody should think. We need to be adaptable. We need to embrace the new technologies and the smart shipping, because otherwise there is no way that some will be forward-thinking, some will be followers, and some, unfortunately, will not be able to survive after this new era, the new breakthrough of digital shipping. Thank you very much. I'm at your disposal for questions.